On the night my best friend called me pathetic for still loving a man she had already slept with behind my back, we were all sitting around my mother's dining table, pretending we were a normal family having a normal dinner. If you had been there, squeezed between my aunt with the too loud laugh and my cousin scrolling her phone under the table, you probably would have thought it was just another messy family evening. There was roast chicken, cheap wine, someone's playlist buzzing from the kitchen, and the usual orbit around my sister's perfect life. You would not have guessed that everyone at that table except my little cousin already knew my boyfriend had cheated on me. Everyone but me. At least, that is what I thought until the truth turned inside out and I realized the betrayal was so layered it might as well have been a lasagna. I should start with this: my name is Rachel. I am 26 years old. I have always been the fixer, the one who smooths things over. The one who texts the group chat to remind people of birthdays, who organizes surprise cakes, who remembers to bring extra chargers on trips. You know that friend who always takes the group photo and is never really in it? That was me. My best friend is Alison. Or was. I still have trouble using past tense for someone who has been in my life since we were 12. We met in middle school detention. She got in trouble for drawing on a desk. I got in trouble for correcting a teacher. We bonded over mutual irritation and shared gum. Growing up, Alison was the wild one. The one who kissed boys behind gyms, who snuck out, who experimented with hair colors and clothes. I was the quieter one, the girl with the messy ponytail and the spiral notebooks full of stories I never showed anyone. People always called us a pair, like we were one unit. Alien Dratch. The two girls in the back of class sharing headphones. The two girls who always arrived together at parties. The two girls who knew each other's parents' moods better than their own. Then there was Noah. If this were a simple story, Noah would be the villain. He is not. He is just a boy who never grew up fast enough for the mess he walked into. We met in our second year of college. He was the one who sat next to me in an economics lecture and whispered that he did not understand any of it, and can I please see your notes after class? He had warm eyes and nervous hands and the kind of nervous laugh that made my chest feel lighter. Alison met him a week later when we all ended up at the same terrible bar. She told me later he was cute but too good for her type. I did not ask what that meant. I was too busy trying to pretend I was not already half in love with him. Somewhere between shared study sessions and bad pizza and walking home at 2 in the morning together, Noah became my boyfriend. Quietly. Naturally. No big dramatic confession. Just a gradual, comforting slide from friends to more. Alison was there for all of it. She teased me when I overanalyzed his texts. She told me what to wear on our first night away together. She called me nauseating when Noah and I would share headphones on the couch, legs tangled, scrolling through the same feed. We graduated. Life blurred. Jobs, rent, bills. Alison bounced between retail jobs and short-lived design assistant gigs, always complaining that her bosses were idiots. I landed a stable but not glamorous job as an office manager at a small clinic. Noah got hired at an accounting firm and started working late, drinking more coffee than seemed physically safe. We all still hung out. Game nights at our tiny apartment. Take out on the floor. Wine on the balcony where we could see exactly one corner of the city skyline if we leaned just right. If you had asked me then, I would have told you that my life was not perfect, but it was mine and it was solid. I had a boyfriend who told me he loved me. I had a best friend who said we would be in each other's lives no matter who came and went. I had a mother who liked Noah, who called him the son she'd never had. I had no idea there were cracks forming under the surface, hairline fractures that would one day break everything with almost no warning. The first crack showed up as a joke. One night, we were all sitting in my living room. Noah and Alison were arguing about a TV show. He said the main character was selfish. She said he was misunderstood. They went back and forth for 10 minutes, loud and laughing. I watched from the other end of the couch, amused. At some point, Alison said that Noah needed a girlfriend who was less nice. She said I was too forgiving. She said if she dated him, she would never let him get away with anything. Everyone laughed. It was a joke. Except, in hindsight, there was something in her eyes that was not entirely joking. That night, when Noah and I were alone, I joked back and asked if he wanted a terrifying girlfriend like her. He laughed and told me Alison was his sister in another body and that I was the only person who ever made him feel calm. I believed him. Because of course I did. That is the thing about trust. It is not rational. It is a habit you build around people until you cannot see the gaps. The next crack came months later. Noah and Alison started texting more. It made sense. They were planning my birthday surprise, they said. They were coordinating a group trip. They were sharing memes about shows they watched that I did not follow. It was all framed as harmless. I told myself it was nice that my boyfriend and my best friend got along. If I felt a flicker of unease when I saw their names on each other's screens, I shoved it down. I did not want to be that girlfriend. The insecure one. The one who monitors and counts and asks who is that. So I let small things slide. The slightly too long hug when Alison left. The nights Noah said he was working late but came home smelling like her citrus shampoo. The way they would look at each other and then at me when I walked into a room. My mother used to say that once you know to look for red flags, you realize you ignored a whole parade. At that time, I was still blind. Then, 3 big things happened in the same week. First, Noah's firm announced layoffs were coming. He got jittery. Stayed up all night refreshing his email. Drank more coffee, more energy drinks. Started snapping at small things, then apologizing instantly. I tried to be supportive. I made him meals. I rubbed his shoulders. I told him we would be okay even if he lost his job. Second, my mother called a family dinner for Sunday night. She said she had important news. Her tone was so serious I spent 2 days worrying she was sick. Third, I got a message from Alison asking if she could crash at our place for a few days because her roommate had a guy practically living there now and she needed a break. This was normal for us. Alison had lived on our couch more times than I could count. I said of course. That Friday, I came home from work early. The clinic had closed for the afternoon for a system upgrade. I stopped at the grocery store, grabbed ingredients for Alison's favorite pasta, and headed upstairs, juggling bags. I walked into my apartment and knew something was wrong before I saw anything. You know that feeling when the air feels thicker? When the silence has shape? There were 2 wine glasses on the coffee table. An open bottle. Alison's jacket on the floor. A trail of clothes leading toward the hallway. My heart started making that slow, heavy thud you feel in your throat. I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe Alison had someone over. Maybe Noah was out. I do not know why he was not on my list of people who might be in that bed. I walked down the hall, each step loud in my own ears. The bedroom door was half open. A sound slipped through. Breath. A low laugh. Sheets moving. I did not push the door. I did not burst in. I stood there, inches away, fingers on the wood, and felt my entire body go cold. Then I heard my name. Alison's voice, breathless, saying that Rachel would never suspect. Noah's voice, low, saying that made it more exciting. You would think I would have thrown the door open then. That I would have screamed, caught them, made a scene. I did not. I stepped back like I had touched something burning. I walked out of the apartment as quietly as I had come in. I closed the door behind me with a soft click. In the hallway, I slid down the wall and sat on the floor, grocery bag handles cutting into my fingers. I was too calm. Shock is like that sometimes. It wraps you in cotton. I looked at my phone. There were no missed calls. No texts from them asking where I was. Of course not. They thought I was at work until 6. I had about 2 hours before they would start wondering. I could have gone to my mother's. Instead, I took the bus to the park. I sat on a bench, watched kids run around like their worlds had never cracked, and tried to decide what to do. Breakups in your 20s are not just about love. They are about logistics. About leases and furniture and friend groups. Alison had been in every room of my life since I was a child. Noah had been in every plan I made for my future. They were both woven into my days. How do you tear out half the threads of your life without the whole thing falling apart? I did not have an answer. What I did have was that family dinner on Sunday. My mother's important news. Something in me, some small stubborn piece that was not completely destroyed, wanted to see who would say what if I gave them one more day to tell me the truth. So I went home that night like nothing had happened. When I walked in, Alison was in the kitchen making popcorn. Noah was on the couch watching something. They both looked up, too fast, and then forced themselves to relax. Alison said she had made herself at home again. Noah asked how my day was. I said fine. My voice sounded normal. Inside, I was running 100 miles an hour. That night, I slept on the couch, claiming I had fallen asleep watching TV. In reality, I could not bear the idea of sharing a bed with someone who had kissed someone else in it hours earlier. On Saturday, I moved around the apartment like a ghost, watching them. The way Alison touched his arm when she laughed. The way he looked at her and then away. The way their phones seemed to vibrate at the same time. They thought they were subtle. They were not. By Sunday, the cotton around my shock had started to burn away. Underneath was anger. Not the screaming kind. The precise kind. The kind that makes you start making lists in your head. What I knew. What they thought I did not. What I wanted. I wanted honesty. More than that, I wanted to stop being the girl things happened to and start being the girl who decided what happened next. The dinner was at my mother's apartment. She had gone all out, or at least as all out as she could afford. Real tablecloth. Candles. That chicken she only made when she wanted people to be impressed. My aunt, my cousin, my sister Mia, her husband, and a couple of neighbors were already there when we arrived. Alison walked in beside me carrying a pie. My mother hugged her first, told her she always brought the best desserts. She hugged me second, told me I looked tired. She hugged Noah third, called him her favorite almost son-in-law. The words hit like tiny darts. Almost son-in-law. I had no idea that phrase would be the blade of the night. We sat. We ate. We made small talk. My mother asked Mia about her kids. She asked Noah about work. She asked Alison about her latest job, the one she had started last week and was already complaining about. She did not ask me about anything. Halfway through dinner, she stood up and clinked her glass with a fork. She said she had some news. My stomach dropped. For a split second, I thought she was going to say she was sick. That she was selling the apartment. That something serious had happened. She smiled, eyes glittering. She said she had been waiting for the right time to share this. Then she said that one of her daughters was finally doing something right with her life. She turned to Alison. She said that she was so proud that her dear Alison had finally gotten serious about a career. That maybe she would inspire me to stop bouncing around and settle down. My face burned. Alison laughed. She did not correct my mother about whose daughter she was. She had always been half adopted into my family. It had never bothered me before. Tonight, it did. Then my mother said there was another piece of news. She looked at Noah. Then at me. My heart stuttered. She said that she had always known Noah was special. That he was steady, kind, the kind of man who could take care of someone properly. She said she had been worried he would get tired of waiting for me to grow up. The whole table chuckled. I stared at her. What was happening? Then she said it. She said that when Noah had come to talk to her a few weeks ago, she had been scared, but now she was just happy. He had come to talk to her. About me. I looked at him. His eyes were on his plate. She said he had asked for her blessing. Blessing. The word crawled over my skin. I wanted to throw up. She said she had been so relieved that one of her daughters would finally have a stable future. I waited for her to say my name. She did not. She put her arm around Alison's shoulders. She said she was so happy for them. The room went sideways. My mother's words blurred. My aunt gasped, already starting to clap. My cousin's phone was suddenly up, recording. Mia's mouth opened. Someone dropped a fork. I heard myself ask, in a voice that sounded far away, what she meant. My mother looked at me like I was slow. She said that Noah and Alison had told her last week. That they had fallen in love. That they had not meant for it to happen. That they were scared to hurt me. But that sometimes love was messy. She said Noah had done the right thing coming to her first, as the mother, to ask how to handle it. He had called my mother. Before he broke up with me. Before he told me anything. He had taken the girl I had shared every secret with and brought her to the woman I had spent my whole life trying to please and had made an arrangement without me. There is a kind of silence that is louder than screaming. That is what filled that room. Alison reached for my hand. She said my name, eyes big and shiny, voice trembling in that way people use when they want you to see them as victims too. She said she had been meaning to tell me. She said she had wanted to find the right time. She said she and Noah had not wanted to hurt me, but that their feelings were real. Noah finally looked up. He started saying something about how he had been confused for a long time, how he cared about me, how he had tried to make it work, but he could not deny what he felt for Alison. He said he had wanted to be honest. He said this was him being honest. It was not. This was them being caught. My mother jumped in. She said I should be mature about it. She said I should be happy for them. She said it was better to know now than later, after a wedding, after children. She said I had always been resilient. She said I would bounce back. She said, in front of everyone, that I was strong enough to be alone. She thought that was a compliment. Inside me, something snapped. Not the way a heart breaks in a movie. More like the way a bone finally gives after years of pressure. I stood up. My legs felt wobbly, but they held. Everyone looked at me. My mother looked wary, like she expected me to cry, to scream, to cause a scene she could later retell as proof of my instability. Alison looked hopeful, like she thought I might give her a twisted blessing. Noah looked guilty, but also weirdly relieved, like he believed he had done the brave thing. I inhaled. The air tasted like chicken and cheap wine and something sourer, something like rot. I told them I had heard them. I told them I understood. I told Noah I appreciated that he had finally decided to be honest. Then I told them something they did not know. I said that on Friday, I had come home early. I said that I had heard my name through the bedroom door. I said that I knew exactly how long they had been lying to me. There was a ripple around the table. Alison's face drained of color. Noah's mouth opened. I did not give him space to talk. I said that the part that hurt most was not that they had fallen in love. People fall in love with the wrong people all the time. I said the part that hurt most was that they had sat in my living room eating my food, sleeping in my home, smiling at my messages, while rearranging my whole life with my mother behind my back. I said that my mother had called me resilient and strong enough to be alone, but that she had never once called me worthy of loyalty. The room was very quiet. Then my mother did something very on brand. She got defensive. She said I was twisting things. She said she had just tried to help them figure out how to tell me. She said she had only ever wanted what was best for us. She said maybe this was a blessing. She said that maybe this would push me to focus on my career, on myself. The version of me from a year earlier would have swallowed that. She would have apologized for making things uncomfortable. She would have gone home and cried quietly so as not to make anyone feel bad. I am not that girl anymore. I told my mother that blessings do not come disguised as people using you. I told her that wanting what is best for someone does not look like making big decisions about their life without them in the room. I told Alison that best friends do not climb into your bed when you are not in it. I told Noah that men who want to be seen as honest do not try out their confessions on their ex-girlfriend's mother first. Someone at the table choked out a laugh, quickly turned into a cough. My mother told me to lower my voice. I told her I had lowered my voice for 26 years. Then I did the one thing none of them expected. I told them I forgave them. Not for their sakes. For mine. I said I forgave them for being small, scared people who took the easiest path that hurt the person they assumed would bounce back. And then I told them I wanted nothing to do with them anymore. My mother's face twisted. She said I was being dramatic again. She said I would come running back when I calmed down. She said family was family. She said Alison was like a second daughter to her. I said then she could keep her. My aunt put a hand over her mouth. Mia, my quiet younger sister, whispered my name, half warning, half awe. Alison started to cry. She said she never meant to lose me. She said she loved me. I believed that in a twisted way. I think she did love me. She just loved herself more. And when it came down to it, my role in her life was not the friend who deserved honesty, but the friend who made her life more comfortable until someone else could. I pushed my chair in. I picked up my bag from the floor. Then I did something very small that was actually very important. I left my house key on the table. Not my mother's house key. My key. To the apartment I shared with Noah. The lease was in my name. I had been the one who passed the credit checks. I had been the one who paid the deposit from my savings. Noah had moved in with his furniture and his promises and his assumption that I would never kick him out. I said, calmly, that he had 1 week to find somewhere else to live. Legally, he had no claim. Morally, he had even less. I turned to Alison. I said she was not welcome in my home again. Not because I wanted to punish her. Because my home deserved people who did not see my kindness as an opportunity to steal. My mother said I could not do that. She said I was being cruel. She said I would regret it. I told her I had spent my entire life trying not to be cruel, and all it had gotten me was people who thought they could rearrange my life without asking. I said I was done. And then I walked out. Nobody followed me. Later, Mia texted that my mother had called me ungrateful for the next hour, that Alison had sobbed, that Noah had left early. That the chicken had gone cold. I went back to my apartment and locked my bedroom door that night. Noah came home late, tried to knock, tried to talk through the wood. I put my headphones in. I listened to music loud enough to drown him out. In the days that followed, he tried everything. He wrote long messages about how he had been confused, how things with me had felt stale, how he had not set out to hurt me, how he thought maybe if he could make it official with Alison it would somehow make it less ugly. The twisted logic of someone who has never sat alone with the true weight of their actions. I did not respond. In the end, the thing that made him understand it was really over was practical. I cancelled his access to our shared accounts. I took my name off the utilities he had been paying late. I told the landlord he would be leaving at the end of the month. When the logistics disappear, love stories tend to as well. Alison sent long, tearful texts. She said she missed me. She said she knew she did wrong, but that people messed up, and that surely our years together were worth more than one mistake. I did not agree. This was not one mistake. This was months of decisions, lies, omissions. This was a campaign of not telling me the truth because it was easier to enjoy what they had as long as I stayed ignorant. You do not come back from that. Not really. I blocked her. Softly. Without fireworks. Just silence. My mother did not talk to me for a while. She told other relatives I had overreacted. Some of them believed her. Some of them texted me quiet messages saying they understood more than she thought. Mia came over one night with ice cream and asked me what I was going to do now. It was such a strange question. Life does not end because people disappoint you. You just have to decide whether you will shrink or stretch. So I stretched. I took on extra hours at the clinic to save more. I applied for a part-time course in project management. I spent evenings alone in my apartment learning that my own company was not as terrifying as everyone said. I rearranged the furniture. I painted the living room wall a deep blue just because I liked it. I relearned myself. 3 months later, I ran into Alison at the supermarket. She was with her new roommate. Not Noah. They had broken up after a grand total of 6 chaotic weeks. Apparently cheating with someone is not the best foundation for trust. She looked smaller. Not physically. Just like someone who had finally met consequences. She tried to make small talk. I let her. Then she said something I did not expect. She said that out of everyone in her life, I had been the only person who never expected her to perform. She said she had thought that meant I could handle anything she did. She said she had been wrong. She said she missed having someone who saw through her without using it against her. I did not say I missed her. But I did say I was glad she finally saw herself clearly. She asked if we could ever be friends again. I told her the truth. I said I did not know. Forgiveness, I repeated to myself, is not a door you fling open. It is a window you occasionally crack to let the air in. We parted without making promises. At home that night, I sat on my couch, the one we had bought together, the one I had thought I would have to throw out because of the memories, and realized it felt different now. It felt like mine. If you were here with me now, legs tucked under you, a mug in your hand, asking me if I regretted anything, I would tell you this. I do not regret loving people who turned out to be weak. I regret all the years I believed that their weakness meant I was unlovable. The most shocking thing I did was not kicking Noah out. It was not blocking Alison. It was not walking out of that dinner. The most shocking thing I did was this. I stopped waiting for people to choose me. And I chose myself.